Yo, here I am. Oh god, it's squeaking. Why is it squeaking now? Why is my microphone squeaking? Okay. I'm here. Welcome back. Welcome back to the good old writing streams. So we left off yesterday with a few questions. Sorry, dude, I start streaming, I get instantly tired. I have to say, preamble. I took a little bit longer than expected, right? I took a little bit longer than expected. Not because I was like, oh yeah, no, I did not plan my time right. No, I was home quite early today. But I have like something running in the background because I'm like ordering for my football team that I'm leading in like a small tournament. I ordered some shirts. We cannot look at them sadly, but yeah. I ordered some shirts and the shirts came back wrong. So yeah, they came back wrong. Like the design, the final design, and like absolutely scuffed. There was like a letter somewhere that should not have been there. There was like a letter that shifted around, and I was like, yeah, no, this doesn't work. We need to redesign the shirts quickly. And there was like, yeah, but you sent those, and I'm like, no, this is what I sent, and this is what you gave me. Like I have like the pre-design done, and now after a lot of mailing, I'm probably at the point where these are like getting done. They want to ship them on the 19th, so yeah, and the tournament is on the 27th, so even if they take like 3 days shipping, it should be fine. They should arrive on the 19th, and if they are later, then they're later. Anyways, so what's going on? Other than that, I was like interested in seeing what this. We do one little thing. I don't want to advertise for someone, but we need to talk about something which annoys me to no end. I am so annoyed. I'm so annoyed to this point that oh my god. I don't know how I like if you Google my name, right, on Google, I'm so confused. I will open up the Google search. 1 second. This is nuts. Okay, here you get the Google search. So this is a Google search, right? This is like what I see on Google when I Google my name. I will do it a little bit more visible for you. So 1 second. Where is it? Browser. Right, this is it. Okay. So this is what I find when I Google. And there's this one. This one is like my nemesis. Short preamble. I don't know when this happened. I don't know when this site was formed. But this is like the first thing on Google now. Before that, it was this. Right? This was okay. And now it's this. It's above everything else. Above my videos, above everything. Like these were like the first Renekins on Google. And then you have like this. And it's like, the problem is that I am like not annoyed. No. There is no ancient lore. There is no ancient lore, dude. Hi, Gara, by the way. There's like no ancient lore. I'm good. After the email wars, everything is fine. But like, this is like not fine, right? This is annoying. Up to like yesterday it changed, because usually I'm googling my name and then just like for my to just get to my socials quickly, right? I just enter, as you can, oh no, you cannot see it. I do this, right? Just type in my name and boom, I'm getting to my Twitch and stuff like that. It just is 10 times faster than like going over a favorite and just tabbing down. Just put this, bam, you're instantly there. But then like this fucker popped up yesterday. And it's like super annoying because it's like an AI thing, and it's like the most shallow AI thing, right? It's like a team meeting stuff. It's like Copilot but shit. And then it's like, hey, this is Ghost. Why? Why use my name, bro? I should have like copyrighted my name. Maybe I'm doing that. I don't know. Can you copyright the name for me as like? Is it? Can I get? Wait, I'm interested. Give me 1 second. Can you copyright a username? You can trademark it. So the exclusive right to use specific word slogans. Okay. Can I trademark my username? Damn, if these clowns don't have... Okay, we're switching to Worldbuilding very soon. I mean, one Spanish woman tried to copyright the sun. I mean, that is something we should copyright as well when we play Street Fighter, right? What I wanted to say was, we were... I could try to copyright my username, right? just to say, okay, for my online presence, I want to have this. The problem is he has Renikin.com, but like we can work around this, right? But if we do this and we copyright, we trademark my name, then they're fucked, right? it needs to be a war. How much does trademarking cost? I'm just like interested now. I just need to make it a brand, which is doable. Oh boy, Jesus Christ. Okay, for Europe, if we want to do it in Europe, we could get like a trademark for 850. The King of Orenes. So I was like doing. I don't know if you sub on Twitch, it should still pop up with "Welcome to the Kinship," which is like my old idea for the thing, right? We had the name and then we have like Kinship as like a community name. I don't know if that's a good idea, because now with the rocker aesthetic, it doesn't fit anymore. If I would have gone with the fantasy aesthetic, then yeah. That being said, recap of yesterday quickly so we know what we did. We played Pokemon. We played on my Switch 2. I played Bravely Default, the remake, because it's my favorite JRPG. And now we are going back to writing. So writing is like what we did yesterday, and I wanted to go to these questions about the world because it came up yesterday, and now we need to answer these because we need to like we need to like make it like a firm statement about a few things in the world that we're building. And when we have done that, we can expand on everything else. We're like basically forming now the final pieces of the base lore we want to have, right? Which is kind of funny, from like a very basic shitty timeline, we have now, look at how many pages we have, like all of these. We have pantheons now, we have lore, we have places. Not many, but we have them. Don't worry about the tab with Digimon games. It was for the Ilarox video, which I still have not, is still not up, sadly. I would have loved to see how he like would have cut it, but I don't know. He has gone quiet over the last few weeks. Doesn't matter. So, how are you doing, Gara? My old friend, my friend of the ages now. Dude, I know you, if you think about it. I'm knowing you nearly for 4 years now, for 3.5, which is a long time, dude. So anyways. Where do we start? Questions, right. There we were. Wasn't law? Timeline? No. Oh, questions. I'm so stupid. I cannot see. I am old. So. We have a few questions that I want to answer one by one. The average, my tan has got a sunburn. Bro, dude, I'm so scared. Because last year, I went to a football tournament, right? Like German football, not American one. And I had so much sunburn that I had like blisters on my head. Like actual burn marks, which is awful because I'm like, you've seen me often enough on stream. I'm like basically as white as my avatar right now, right? I'm like very, very white. I'm not tanned at all. And so, when I was at the tournament and I got like very severe sunburns. This year I'm a player. I'm leading a team, so I'm playing myself, which would be funny, regardless, right? Of like it would be funny to see me play football because I cannot play it, but I'm looking forward to that, but I'm not looking forward to the sunburn. So I need to like basically like oil up. I need to be very careful. I need to like put so much sun protection on that I look like Michael Jackson, dude. I mean, I am basically a vampire, which is why which is why I'm so associated with them, right? I like them so much. I am weak to the sun, even though I like it. I yearn for the sun, which vampires often do. Garlic is my weakness because other than other vampires, I'm not running away, but I'm eating garlic like crazy because I love garlic. And I should not be trusted around wooden stakes. And I have like very like pronounced, are they called canines? I don't know. The vampire teeth. If I smile, you can see them. They're like a little bit more pronounced. Dude, I'm so aware of P. Diddy. Talking about Switch, you as a vampire would starve within days. You think? You think I would starve? I think just because I cannot see blood does not mean I could not suck blood, right? Because I don't need to look at the blood. I did not tell the story yesterday. Oh my god. Oh my god, I need to talk about the story from yesterday. I forgot about it. Yesterday, before we started early morning the Pokemon stream, I wanted to tell that during Pokemon, but I forgot. And then we really start writing. Sorry. And then we have like 20 minutes of like preamble. The Pokemon stream. Before that, I woke up and I have like 3 of my 4 wisdom teeth. I have those removed, right? My top left one, my bottom left one, and my bottom right one. The top right one of all my wisdom teeth was kept in because it was not a threat to either become bad or painful, and it grew basically straight out, so it was fine, right? It's like any other normal tooth. It worked for the most part, but because it never gets used, because it's like in the corner sitting there, right? And there's no other tooth that basically is like going against it, so you don't have like basically they don't like it keeps its sharpness, let's say it like this, right? Like baby teeth, like very, very sharp. And it has like this one very sharp corner, and when I fall asleep, and I don't know why that happens, when I fall asleep from like being super tired, I always like have the feeling that I'm going into like when I don't know why I do this. Again, I basically create an air pressure pocket in like my left cheek, where basically I cannot explain it, but it's like you produce a pressure on your right or left side of your mouth, and you suck your tongue into your teeth, right? Like a little bit. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's like, right, like this, where you create like saliva on one side, but you like can't suck your tongue into your teeth. And sometimes I do that for whatever reason when I sleep. I don't know why I do this. So what happened was my tongue was stuck to the right side of my face, basically, to my right side of teeth, and there was like my wisdom tooth, which is again very sharp. And when I was sleeping, I probably like chewed or something like that while the tongue was lying there, because when I woke up in the morning, my entire mouth, I was like going to my bathroom, and then there's like my mirror, right? I'm standing in front of my mirror, and I'm opening my mouth to brush my teeth, and my entire mouth is like full of blood. Like not full of blood, but like dried blood. Like it probably mixed with the saliva and just like mixed around my mouth. It looks like I ate a human. And like, of course, in the first moment, I'm like, what the fuck is happening, right? And then I'm realizing, oh, my tongue feels like, I feel slight pain to my tongue on my right side. And I actually penetrated a little bit of my tongue on the right side, and that caused my mouth to bleed. And yeah, that was not good. Anyways, enough proof that I could be a vampire, because apparently I saw it and I did not become unconscious. I felt like a bit queasy at the moment, but other than that, like, I was very fine. So maybe I could become a vampire. Apparently blood in my mouth is not that bad. Yeah, so other than that, old man moments. Where was I? Right, world building, right? That's what we wanted to do today. So anyways, I need to do a few questions, and I was thinking about a few answers, and I have a few ideas. So what we're doing is we're creating a little bit of space between these. So to start off, so we're officially in writing. We will do off-topic stuff while we are talking, but I try to like be focused for the time we have, because today is like a little bit short. We're like a bit more than 2.5 hours left, and then I need to go. Like, so anyways, we were talking about yesterday if like if the halflings influence the gnomes and goblins to research how to tap into the changeling's body. So the changeling being basically at the moment our devil-esque creature, right? Basically the one thing you would throw your party against as like, oh yeah, this is like a standard adventure good versus evil, right? I think that's where we put the changeling in. Not as like the stand-in, like not your Dead 3 of Baldur's Gate, but something you could like easily like throw us in as a concept and very understandable, right? So did the halflings actually influence the gnomes and goblins researchers on how to tap the change's body as fuel for their aether bomb? So to get to that, we need to answer a later question. How does an aether bomb work anyways? So I've decided about that. And the aether bomb work like this. So you have an aether bomb empty as a vessel. Next step, you put in aether that is magically, and that is very important that it's magic. It's basically a magic bomb, right? That is magically split. And fusion ready. And now the thing that is very important. Not fireball. Aether receptors gain surrounding aether from a source rapidly. So there's these like I can imagine like these are like stones, magic stones or something like that, or like anything that absorbs aether very quickly, which goes to like later on to like the Goloma, where there are like magic stones that absorb aether in this setting. Basically that. Unfused souls get charged rapidly and desperately and go into a state. Basically, yeah, goes to like a little bit into Soulstone area, yeah. And go into a state of wanting to fuse but split again, but also to split. So basically, you want to have a soul that is like basically aether soul. That can be split. I should put like soul in there. So that is ready, basically like ready to split, but also make it so big that it's also trying to fuse again, right? And like basically like create like a state where you have 1 and also 0, and this causes aether soul tries to fuse with the nearest aether deposit, of which there is none, and in breaking free the container, one second, container bursts, creating a rapid expansion of fusion seeking aether, right? So basically you have like, basically how I imagine it to work, it's like, okay, you put so much soul in there that it's like, it's trying to fuse but also unfuse and split. And so like it doesn't have like, the container cannot contain the pure energy that results from this. While the fusion tries to push itself away, like split like two magnets with the same pole, and also try to attract to something else that it could fuse with. And then it just bursts in a giant explosion, right? And that's how it would like get attracted to like Aether in general. Oh man, you saw SGF Xbox and yeah, I saw everything. Yeah, I watched the whole thing. But yeah, that's how an Aether bomb works. At least that's how I would interpret it. If there's a better interpretation or like thing you could optimize here, then we can optimize it. But that's like basically like any explosion. You need like a medium. You need like basically a space where like pressure can build. Like the more pressure you can build, the bigger the boom, right? And then like after that you need like a fuse. So basically you have like a fuse in terms of like Aether split, and then you have like basically the air is just like the medium that transport the force, right? Like any like normal explosion as well. That's how I imagine it to work. Again, we're going into like the territory of like, again, Aetherpunk and Aether like magic technology mix, right? So there's like a little bit of like interpretation open for that, because, well, it's unrealistic tech because it uses magic. But in of itself, it would make like a little bit of like physical sense. And now we have this, and now we go into this, because now that we have defined this, we can basically steamroll answers. Since it's the answers of the gods, right? And we put this here. Remove this. So, did the halflings actually influence the gnomes and goblins? And did the halflings point the gnomes and goblins to the direction of a large Aether reservoir? These are very important put together. And I made up my mind about this as well. So, halflings, let's say it rather is, the halflings did put the gnomes and goblins. I cannot write for shit today again. On the right track to find the spots in the mirror belt. Sorry, in the mirror belt to that connect with the changeling. To siphon its Aether. I think that is like the thing why the Aether is like seeping upwards, is because the changeling is growing inside the Earth's core. It just feasts on the god's essence. I know it's for like everyone that like is like one of my players. It knows this concept of like another entity feasting on the gods. I think that's like one of my very first campaign things that I had, the god parasite. And I think this goes like a little bit like in the different, same direction, but more indirect, right? Aether bleeds into the world, and the changeling feasts on that. it grows by this and transforms, right? And this is why the changeling would be so fucked up, because the changeling and all of its like might siphons energy and siphons the direct energy from different gods, and those gods like all have characteristics, and those characteristics bleed into the changeling's appearance, right? And like characteristics as well, which is why the changeling is like so weird. And so like, because the changeling grows, like the Aether needs a place to go, and it seeps like everywhere. The changeling would like also seep like Aether, I think. It would like have like Aether waste, basically, right? I can imagine that it like expunges some Aether itself. Yeah, and then we have the halflings. I'm thinking right now. Right. So the halflings put the gnomes there, right? They say, okay, you can siphon the Aether there. It's like there's like large Aether reservoirs in like tricking both civilizations into harvesting the large Aether reservoir, right? I think that is what we do. And then the next question, of course, is like, did they influence it, and how to feel for the Aether bomb? We killed that for the most part, because that is like the logical explanation for this, right? No, I will abbreviate this with G and G's. Add the Aether to form Aether souls like the dwarves rapidly, right? So basically they have like these like giant reservoirs now, and now they can just like fuck around and try to replicate the dwarves technique of like creating an Aether stone, putting it in an automaton, and that creates like energy, right? They see that creates energy, and so they would definitely try to make the bomb like basically chain react, right? I think they would like come across this as like they understood that fusion creates a lot of energy at once and misused its purpose to create force instead of life. That's what they did, right? So now we have like the orcs, basically not the orcs, the halflings and the gnomes, being like, oh yeah, we're going where our friends the halflings tell us, right? And the goblins and the gnomes are like, oh yeah, they're like very cool. No, we are not using the same color code here. Let's color code it a little bit differently. Let's make it magenta. So, And now we know, okay, they would like use that Aether. They have now the resources to do like good stuff with it. But they decide, okay, we can use that force. We can harness that force that is created by that. And use this instead of like creating life. And now the orcs. And this is like the last thing about the changeling for the time being. Did the orcs know and try to warn them about the changeling because of their nature of faith and ley lines? I think with that, I go with the second one. I think orcs knew about ley lines. We know that. They interpreted the changeling's presence as the ley lines themselves. Want the gnomes, the GNGs, makes it faster, GNGs. And in hindsight, were quote unquote right. This gave the orcs even more. This gave the orcs even more. What? More leverage, more like reason, right? More reason to be more cloud, yeah. More cloud, and let them reintegrate into society. Though it is debatable, I think it is debatable if they knew about the changeling itself. Cloud, that guy from Final Fantasy. Yeah, that one. Though it is debatable if they knew about the changeling itself. Changeling is written in this because it's a name itself or not. So basically we keep it like open if they're with I told you so, right? In hindsight they would claim, yeah, we knew about the changeling, right? After the Unity War, they claimed they did, but it was hard to disprove. Right? Let's keep the angle that the orcs were like, yeah, we knew about it, even though they probably were not. They were like magically inclined to say there is something and be careful. And there's like this Aether vein. Like, I think they knew about the Aether vein, but I think they did not know about the changeling. And then the orcs knowing would explain why the halflings wanted them gone. Yeah, I think this is like one of the things. If the orcs would know that the changeling existed, wouldn't the halflings try to ally with the orcs? Just asking. Isolationists or no, right? They would rather use them instead of wanting them gone. This is like something that I today during my lunch break I thought about quite a lot. Like, is there a reason why they would not like abuse the orcs similarly, like guide them towards the changeling instead of like whatever the fuck the orcs were doing? Yeah, the orcs should not know that. That is like 100% confirmed. I think this is why I'm deleting this one. I think these are the questions for yesterday that we like. These are my answers to the questions from yesterday. We basically focused a little bit. That is also true. That is also true. They were too proud. Yeah. That is true. Yeah. Especially since they saw basically what they did with the gnomes and the goblins. And I think having the gnomes and goblins, like, not allying with the orcs would be like for the halflings. Okay, we can. This is a surprise too. We can use later. Because I think they were like also instigating a little bit with the elves. I can imagine that the halflings were like, oh yeah, let's free these guys. Just elves, please. If you do this for us, you can have some of our tech. Yes. Right? So yeah, this is what I would keep at the moment. Exactly. We have some technology that can cure your vampirism, right? I know you're oogling those slave people, these enslaved people by the orcs, right? You're thinking about like taking down the orcs. We are with you, and if you start a little bit of like a fire, we would be very, very thankful, right? We have something to cure your vampirism, right? It's called garlic. It's hot shit. And they're also like, yeah, we don't want to die at 50. That sounds cool. And we hate the orcs. That's also cool. This is an absolute win, right? Sounded too good to be true. Which now we need to put that into. Wants to kill the halflings, promise the elves to kill their god with an aether weapon. That is kinda interesting. Like, okay, basically you can murder your god, you can nuke him. You know what? Let's do. So let's do a little bit of like, look, elves buddies. We drain the aether from the world, the god's power will wane, and you can maybe free yourself from the yoke of your curse. I imagine that the fucking the dwarves and the halflings sound like Solarians, right? They should sound like a nerd emoji, I think. Yes. Well, at least the halflings, right? It's time to build a nuke. Yes. Anyways, let's add this to the halflings, gnomes, and goblins. I think this is like the most important. And like this to the orcs. And like have this also added to the orcs, so we have like the open questions for the time being empty, right? And then we oh my god! Yes! Yeah, I can imagine that. So let's make copy and the paste. We copy paste that out of there and into this one. And then we do this fresh thing. And we go into orcs. And put this in. And then we will reformat this. No worries. I just want to get this all out of here so we don't have this. Whoop. Okay, no open questions at this point. If we have open questions, we can, of course, enter them there. If they're okay. If they're like, why are you gay? Then I'm like, I don't know. I have been sent this by 3 people, and I have not heard it. I have not heard it. I have to say this. I want to hear it. Is it good? I heard it. Like, one of my friends said it's a banger, but I don't know. So, I think we split these up. Do we split these up now into 3 different ones? We have 1 page for them, but now we have like 3 different laws and stuff like that. It would be wise, right? I'm thinking right now if it's like better for organizing or if we keep them together because they're like so linked together. Do we keep them? I think they're very good connected. You know what I do? I do a sub page in here. I do like 3 sub pages in here. Page. Gnome. Page. Goblin. Page. Halfling. Okay, because the halflings are like so, like, we have like done, the craziest thing is we have like done so much with the halflings, right? But you cannot even play them. Which is like so crazy. I mean, it's like lore building, right? It's like if you would play Final Fantasy 14 as like the TTRPG and talk about the Esseans, right? They're like the same thing. Let's put these away. Yeah, they need motivation. That is true. Villains are really fun. I love villains. The problem with villains is that I always like them at some point very much, and that is like I like them too much, and then I get sloppy, which is like my worst thing. Goblins go in here. I would keep like the general lore in here of all 3, right? Yeah, they're pretty awful in their own way. They're like really awful. How do the Aether Bombs work? So we keep the Aether Bombs. The Aether Bombs need to go, by the way. We need to do an Aether Bomb outside. Lore. Let's do tech, right? Page. Tech. And then we put in, I know it's a very empty tech page right now, but page. Oh my god, that's a bit big. Aether bombs. No! What is this? What is this? Can I remove it? Yeah, I can. Because now we can like refer to the Aether bomb by itself, right? So let's do blah. No. You were talking about humans, yes, about dogs yesterday when we wrote, we texted. I was thinking about different ones. And in theory, we still have like different ones, right? That still exist. We can like do different ones that we can dogify in theory. Would it be funny to make the cat folks dogs? No, just kidding. Just kidding. Okay. Let's go into this and try to de-jank the halflings, right? Blah blah blah. Was in relation for they work together, different projects. After testing Kaiko Island, they hit the Aether vein. Aether flood gets started. Clearly editing the title, so we know that this is like the setting title. Aether Flood and then Aziko. There will not be more Aether Floods. This is the only one, but I want to have like Aziko in there so we don't forget the planet's name. That would be funny. Anyway, let's see. We have well, they there. Are the 3 douchebags really gone? Yeah, officially yes. Is there a nation of subgroup of people, technology advanced? Still no. Okay. This needs to go into the halflings. We just split that in for a little bit up. Halflings. Aether bombs go away. They don't have anything here. And this goes into the halflings as well. And we write the abbreviated version into the gnome and the goblin, right? Where they're like, yeah, the good friends showed them, right? Just to make this page a little bit more bearable, because this is just like color vomit. These are all reasons why nobody wants the fools back. So about that. So at the moment, right? At the moment, we have like basically like only these. Like many modern elf projects revolve around undoing the many of the damages of the Aether Flood created and trying to revive the populace that went extinct. And then in the we have the other tidbit, I think, in the Heritage War, which is why I say we need to revise what we don't have right now, just to get like on page with everything that we have updated. Aftermath. I don't know where I have this right now. Where the elves feel guilty. Elves get dragged into the conflict, blah blah blah, with the combat forces dismantle a big part of the Orcish Empire over the next centuries. So grows in the Orcish dynasties, subfactions too, blah blah blah. Turning point. Now favors and money were collected to dwarves to turn against the orcs. That is the Heritage War, right? Frick. Yeah. I mean, we can't put the guilty thing out, right? We can't delete this. It's the only piece of text that alludes to this. And I like the elves having like a conscience. At least like a small conscience. They don't have a big one. They're abusing everyone. They're like super toxic in every relationship, right? They're big cats. They're like big cats that became humanoid. They're like predators. Not in like the sexual sense, but like in like the opportunist sense, right? So do they feel any kind of bad feelings towards these three? That they riled up into big war and into big projects that destroyed, first of all, the world, and then also eradicated them off the map as like a civilization. That is like the thing. As a civilization who was nearly wiped out themselves, that's like the thing. Do they associate with them? Do they feel sympathy towards them? They want the assuage of their guilt and want the deaths they indirectly cause, but also hope their revival will spark the further side of... Yeah, I think it's a mix, right? Let's kill these and go back to the elves quickly. Because I don't have a picture of the elves in here. I quote you on that. I don't know why the revival of the gnomes, goblins, and halflings will spark further creativity. I think we keep that. I like that more than like, oh, they had a deal, right? I think the like halflings made an offer to the elves to help them with their vampirism. I think that is something that that should be like ominous enough for the time being. Okay, let's go back to them. Do we need this reminder? We know that they're horrible now, right? Do we need a reminder that they're horrible? I think we know this by now. Like, we're in the stage of writing where we don't need this reminder, I think. We know nobody wants the back. So, anyways. So let's go to the halflings. Let's clean this page up. I mean, if we write like a short text, like, yo, these three that are instinct are like revived by the elves, but they are all three like very bad and nobody wants them back. We can write the moniker right now, right? Like a small one. These lost. I think we do, so we call them the Rightfully Forgotten. Yeah, I like them. I like that very much. It sounds very epic. The Rightfully Forgotten. Because now we have it also name a moniker instead of the Three Fuckers. We can't call them the Three Fuckers still, but... we can also write a short text, right? The remains the instigators of the... yeah, they're not forgotten, right? Yeah. The Rightfully Forgotten sounds like a Dark Souls boss, to be honest. Let's hear like the Rightfully Lost. And while each of them played a smaller or big part of freeing all slaves under Orcish rule. Nobody wants yeah. That is kind of cool. I was thinking about the same when I like, yeah, these are the lost. Right, these are the lost, and then you have like, if you're like, damn rightfully lost, right? I can see like a dwarf cursing, like I can see like an NPC cursing this when you're like in like an old mine shaft that was like is like set up defensively by one of those three civilizations, where it's like, yeah, like. Damn you, you are the rightfully lost or something like that. I can see that happening. Nobody wants to everybody remembers their service, but nobody wants them. Nobody wants them, right? I think it is a good curse word, right? I mean, it sounds stupid. I know that it was like one youth slang word like a few years ago, but I like them calling someone a lost one, right? I like the slang, which gets us to the next thing. Welcome to phrases and metaphors. Ah, dude, that sucks, Gara. By the way, on the Wednesday stream, it could be that we do it tomorrow, a stream as well. because I wanted to do like a Thursday stream, but this changed to because I am training on Thursday for like my football tournament. We're definitely doing a Sunday stream this week, I think, but I'm not sure. We're doing. Yeah, I understand. So we're doing a stream probably tomorrow, and we will play a little bit of Switch 2, a little bit of Bravely Default, I think. Because I want to like progress a little bit further. It's one of my favorite RPGs, and I want to show everyone why it's like the best Square Enix turn-based RPG. The JRPG at least, right? It's well, Octopath is probably up there, but I've not played Octopath. I heard Octopath is great. Anyways, I don't know which one is. I will probably be wrong. I'm not the biggest JRPG fan, to be honest. Like, I have to be honest. I'm not the biggest one. Which one is, in your opinion, the best one? For me, it would be otherwise Final Fantasy VI, but FF Tactics, okay. FF Tactics is like super up there, yeah. FF Tactics was really, really good. Yeah, it's not a tactic. It's not a JRPG in the classical sense. Yeah, it's not worth fighting over this topic actually at all. Like, but it's interesting to hear different opinions on this. I mean, some FF6 and Chrono Trigger though. I have to do a hot take. Not the biggest fan on Chrono Trigger. Never was. I think Chrono Trigger is okay. It's not my favorite. Not by a long shot. I know that's very beloved, and I know where people are coming from. It's just not like the thing that I 100% enjoy. I don't know. I think the characters are good. I think the gameplay is good, but I think it just does not jive with me as much as other JRPGs. FF6 is just my favorite Final Fantasy, like flat out. It just slaps like hell. It's so good. It's so iconic, and it's only outdone by, for the record, I have Chrono Trigger even on the NES outside my. What are your top 3 RPGs? Just to hear them. On the SNES, Terranigma, FF6, and Tales of Fantasia. I enjoyed all 3 of those more than Chrono Trigger. Tales of Fantasia I've never played. I heard so much good about Tales of Fantasia. I've never played it. There's like so many SNES ones I've never played. Because JRPGs are not my cup of tea usually. I like my little bit of grind, yes, but I don't like the excessive ones of the old ones. I don't know. Which is why I like Bravely Default probably the most. Because like Bravely Default just... You can like auto battle the grinding away, which is great. And you can turn off random encounters if you don't want to grind anymore, which is also great. Where were we? There. We wanted to have like the rightfully lost. I was like mixing up words in my head. This one I want to copy. Let's go here. Let's go. This. Phrase to describe the gnomes, goblins, and halflings. Also used as a curse word. Curse word. Also, when used in full, it is a curse word which is why the average average person abbreviates it to the lost, right? Then we have like people who you people can describe other people as lost to describe their displeasure with them, right? I think that is what we get down to in general. And now we do it a little bit different because I'm stupid and I could have used this from the get-go. But not, you need to do a list like this. Okay, back to them. Go here. So, civilization were close together and after the Heritage War. I think we put that out of here. They worked together on different projects and had no problem working on unethical projects. After continuous escalation, both factions worked on the Hand Project to quell Orc dynasties. Testing on Kaiko began, and they hit an Aether Vein. Aether Flood gets started, due to the secrecy living below Earth, they were the first to... We do this and put this in both the gnome text and the goblin text. Because this fits both of them, but not all three of them, right? They will get a sentence. We're getting there. I'm just trying to like quell this like amalgamation of all three texts, and then we go into like each one to make them a little bit more motivated. Because halflings are now stacked. I'm very like, suffice to say, I think the halflings are like good as they are, quote unquote. We just need to put them into better words. So we can like get rid of like technological advance to text similar to World War One, right? We get World War One out of there. Like make this like a readable text. The gnomes and goblins get the same treatment very soon. All of these three douchebags deck are really gone. This one gets deleted as well, and now we only have the one question and this one. So let's write a nice little sentence below this. We do this. We do this. And then all three civilizations have not made it to modern times. And though some people talk about the possibility of small groups surviving the Aether Flood, their numbers would their the optimistic number of survivors would have been too small to repopulate their respective society, right? I think that is like what we are doing as like the starting text. So we now have like this. We go into like a little bit of reading here because I want to have this nailed down, because I don't want to touch too much of this text anymore, except if we get like a very big other thing. So we have the rightfully lost. These lost civilizations were the main three instigators of the Eighth of Flood, and while each of them played a smaller or bigger part, in... Okay, let's try this again. These lost civilizations were the main three instigators of the Eighth of Flood, and while each of them played a smaller or bigger part in freeing all slaves under Orcish rule, everybody remembers their service, but nobody mourns them. All three civilizations have not made it into modern times. And though some people talk about the possibility of small groups surviving the Eighth of Flood, the optimistic number of survivors would have been too small to repopulate their respective society. I think that is like very final and very well put, and like in terms of like keeping it very neutral and factual, and not being like very emotional, like, oh, fuck them, they're dead, right? And then we do like... We call them like a faction, right? Okay. Let's start with the goblins, right? We have the sentence for the goblins in there, right? Then we have the one for the gnomes. 1 second. One second. Okay. Good. The gnomes we have as a motivation, right? Thought as novel to assist the goblins by trying out new science and better future. Do we keep that as like vengeance? Do we kill that then? Because gnomes were motivated by desire for change and wanted to use Zahando to force a new world order. Yeah. For the future, that is also good. For the future. Now we put this into like actual text. But again, halflings first, because halflings are like the big one, right? But I imagine they really cared little about improving things and were all about experiencing something new. Yeah, which is like why I think people will not like the city gnolls very much. Because they're like, again, like, since they are like, oh, we want to experience things, right? They're like sense junkies. They see like a little bit of gnome in there, right? Sorry, Colo. Okay. Now let's get this a little bit into order. Like let's try to put these into like a certain order. Then we can describe them. So halflings were a species of insectoid humanoids that were originally a subspecies of dwarves. With their ant-like appearance. And smaller size, they distanced themselves from their quote-unquote cousins physically, but were similar mentally. Let's try it like this. While they did not share the dwarves' desire to pivot to societal norms, they had a more intensified collective subconscious, right? And could understand and build on one another's ideas very quickly, and understand and improve on one another's ideas very rapidly. I think that is like something we give them, right? So this goes like into like collective subconscious, more evolved and intensified by the like size and physical power. However, I think we put that like very like good in the physical descriptor to make them like, oh yeah, they are similar to dwarves, but they are not dwarves, right? This subconscious was so Yeah, I'm looking for the word pronounced. I was thinking about evolve, but that is not the right word for that. It was so pronounced that they were known that groups of them were known, Jesus Christ, to act as one. I've never written a book in my life. You can see this here, right around this part here, because like I have like trouble keeping like a train of thought sometimes, especially in like longer passages. I don't know why. I'm not a very good writer in that regard. Yeah. So we have like this. Now we have like all of this is like physical descriptor. Why they are related to the dwarves, or how they are related to the dwarves, and how they set themselves apart. Now we go into society. Now we have all of this. We have all of this. We have this, and we have this. And now we need to put this all together. So, we start with the outsider's perspective, right? From an outsider's perspective. Halflings were very isolationist and very territorial over their underground cities. This is like already like we have like this killed off, and we have this one, right? Now we need to like do like a few sentences to get rid of all of the other buzzwords. Let's split up the tech. I need to sort this like a little bit. We have the tech over here. Some of those scientists helped defeat the remainder of the Orc Empire. They were absolutely not backed by the governments. Yeah. Old Howling blueprints. That goes into the tech. That goes in the end. Here we have the captives. We have the Aether technology. Goes into tech. Okay. Isolationist to the point of aggression is very good. To the point of aggression. And very territorial over their underground. Very vicious in the defense of their underground strongholds. I like that very much. Very vicious in the defense of their underground strongholds. Oh, strongholds is such a good word. I always forget about that. So now, invaders, I put them in quotation mark, invaders were often taken captive. Befestigungen, yeah, baby. Especially if they're befestigt. Invaders were often taken captive. And not seen again. While some managed to escape. No, we do a dot here. While some few managed to escape. They let me think quickly. They report, right? We say reported. Reported is very good. They reported they reported that the halflings taken captive, disappeared. I cannot write for shit today, dude. Disappeared. Oh my god. Those few who managed to escape would describe treatment worse than even what the loneliest orcish slave had to endure. That is a very good thing with the orcish slaves. I like that. You managed to escape. Again, this shows that I'm jack shit at like writing. I cannot do anything. Would describe treatment. Dude, treat with a T, not with two E's. It's not about trees. Treatment worse than even what the lowliest orcish slave had to endure. Then we have like this and this with both of these gone now, which is great. And now we go into the tech, right? Or do we keep that? Do we go now to the inside of Halfling Society? Because inside of Halfling Society would be like fine right now. Because as of right now, we have like the outsides, right? And now we can say, yeah, on the inside they had like this like crazy tag. Because I would like to go to the tech first, and then I would go to the war with the changeling. And the war with the changeling is like the true reason, so that would be the inside, right? I think this is like still outside knowledge. Halflings. Yeah, and then I would go a little bit into the tech, but not too much, right? Later excavations and eyewitness. Describe their species as highly technologically advanced to the point that their technology would rival and even surpass current inventions. To this day, their technologies and blueprints are the baseline on scientific baseline of scientific discoveries. Made today, right? So I would say that there's like putting everything in that we have down here. We have the tech. We have like the general tech thing there. The only thing that we do not have is this, but we will get into that, I think, on the inside of society, because we will need to explain why this is only usable by them, right? This would like delete all of this. We don't need to go into the specialization of military. I think not, right? We have like technology in general, and I think it would not stop with weapons with them. Or do we put the halfling lock of weapons into this paragraph? Does it make sense from a plot point to like say, oh, that is very good as like a point for like making it in this paragraph, like putting it right below this. Because at the moment we have no reason not we have no reason to put it later and say, oh yeah, they were like fighting against these like flesh warps, and they did not want to get their arms into flesh warp hands, so they connected to their thought web. So I'm thinking this is like this won't have an easier time. This is very good that the dwarves are the best at like deciphering this. Let's take this first. The most common hurdle for modern researchers trying to adapt halfling technology is the Tory presence of the halfling thought web to use these inventions properly, right? That sounds a bit more this sounds like a little bit rounded. The most common hurdle for modern researchers trying to adapt halfling technology is the mandatory presence of the halfling thought web to use these inventions properly. I think this is a bit more like, it sounds a little bit more round, but that's just my perspective on things. Like the entire other thing is like absolutely fine. This gives dwarves have an advantage, maybe, over other species when it comes to adapting halfling technology. I think we should think about the word thought web, because now we have thrown that in. Yeah, the word thought web needs to be workshopped. Yeah, we need to think what this is. Do they have a word for this? Would they have a word for this? Would they have like, or do we keep it like with like collective subconscious? Having mental network. Having thought patterns. Thought patterns sounds a bit too like generalist. Did the halflings invent the internet? You mean like and like their mental web ways basically? Is the subconscious Reddit bro? How about we call them we call it I don't want to call it like for example, I like the mental network, and I think I like the mental web way. But then we get into the web, and then we are in internet, right? This is like the thing. I think the dwarves and halflings would interpret these differently, right? The dwarves, like from the dwarves outside, they does the text share in the mental network as a form of copy protection. What do you mean by that? Is a halfling water heater needs to be interfaced with a halfling regularly, or it stops working? Yeah, this is like the next question that is coming up, right? Like, is like a halfling required for this to work at all? And I think the halflings would be smart enough to not put like a basically self-destruct on the water heater. Because what happens if like a halfling gets mentally impaired from whatever, right? Because we have like spells that make you dumb as shit. That take away your basically like your ability to speak and commune. So like, or like to clearly think. And I think the halflings would be aware of that. We need to think that we still have like Pathfinder spells in that system, right? So like if like, for example, one like guy comes in and tries to charm them, like when would it stop working? I think mundane stuff they would not like protect, but the weapons especially. Like the things that could threaten them, they would like absolutely like mental lock, right? I think the due to the dwarves, we call them inherently psychic already. I think that's like the halfling steer, right? They were like really psychically adept and knew how to make weaponry that is like reacting to the psyche. They had a more intensified collective subconsciousness. Called the web way. Let's do the web way. It doesn't matter. They like like we have to distance ourselves from like class balancing. Like if you, this could be like easily playable, be playable in 5e, I think. You would need to workshop a few things for like the class balance and stuff like that. But like, remember how busted like the playtest psychics were, and how whether they never got a class. But how good the inventors were in the artificers were in D&D. They were like really busted, having like so many magic items. They could just generate magic items out of their ass. That was like really sick. Not as strong as wizards. Wizards were broken in that, but yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking. It was not a critique. Don't worry. I'm like, but yeah, it's like ARP psychics and like inventors. I know that they're the worst, but ARP psychics are one of the worst. I think they're only multi-class fodder, right? And not even that anymore because they nerfed Spell Strike. They were like easy focus point fodder, right? Yeah. Maybe we get better psychics someday. I think Alchemist is in some regards a bit underrated. Alchemist is like a good alchemist can do a lot of things, especially with the mutagens and stuff like that. But let's not get focused on that, especially with like the potions. I think when Over played Giggs, I think that was like the buff was significant, especially like the 10 minutes. It's stupid. It should have been like. Actually, I'm saying this now. It should have been like, yeah, these two foods, they can last to a full day, except if you feed someone else something, right? Then it loses the effect. Like, someone eating a burrito every 10 minutes is super weird. But let's not get too much into that. Sorry, I'm getting lost. It's called the Webway. I like the Webway as like a general fantasy term. And it goes there a little bit hinting at like, oh, they had like thought internet, right? Thought weft? What is a weft? Now I'm looking up English words again. Wait a second. Oh, yeah, I know this now. Gewebe, yeah. I like the thought weft. Weft is like a word nobody does use, right? Oh my god. Oh my god. This is good. Thought weft is good. Do we have... We have subconscious twice. Not found? Oh. One here. Now this is a general explanation, right? This is like just the explanation, and then we have we don't have Webway in this anymore, right? Nope. Okay. It's crazy that if I press Control F to look for... Dude, this makes me angry. Quick 1 second rant. I'm using a search function for the text in here. And in this search function, they made it so that my search on Firefox... Oh my god, what am I doing? Okay. That this search function, if I find something else, if I take the one, half of this gets like or 1/3 is like the not found. Well, it's half, right? Pretty much half. Not found and ask AI. Why? Why would I ask AI about something that is not in the text and I have not found? Anyway. Let's go back. Now, this is like outside, right? This is just everything that is outside. And now we get inside of society. We also have this now, and it goes away. Inside of Halfling society. It was an entirely different story. Halflings were fighting a war. We're fighting in a war deep beneath this is so good, dude. This sounds like straight out of Warhammer. Straight out of like a Warhammer novel, dude. Well, an entirely different story. TNPs led them to fighting a secret war on two fronts. One was a war of information and sabotage against the then first races. Yeah, that is true. Against all of them, right? The other was against a foe that the surface dwellers were not ready for. They encountered a strange being which and its followers which called itself who called it on the expansion deeper underground brought the species into open conflict against an enemy unknown to the other civilizations on Eziko. Yeah, this is a bit more like descriptive of like what I wrote in like short term, yeah. Deeper why the expansion deeper underground brought the species oh, you mean like this, right? This and then starting with while. Yeah. their expansion deeper. It's so funny to see you write yeah instead of yes, because I can never in my life imagine you saying yeah. Like, like some other people, yeah. But like, out of all people, you is like, huh. Never thought about that. It just like came into my mind. Sorry, intrusive thoughts. Deeper underground brought the species into open conflict against an enemy unknown. Oh my god, XCOM. To the other civilizations. Oh my god, I hate this word. Civilizations on Eziko. This enemy was a cult of disfigured beings praying to a deity they would call the Changeling. And now we have the reference to the Changeling. The dot comes after this. Nope. Give me just the Changeling, please. Nothing else. Just the Changeling. And now you give me... Oh my god. This is making me angry. Hello. Am I working right today? It's not working. Why? Just do a little thing. Okay, we lost the thing here. I don't know. Does it now work? Does it work now? Hello? I just cannot enter anything anymore. Let's do like this. And now that we've reloaded, I hope everything resets. And boom, suddenly there is a box, a pop-up. Incredible. Okay, now we have the Changeling. We have introduced the Changeling. Blub. Dead. Okay, we put this one away because this gets like tackled down here. Right? At least the second part here. Do we put this separately in? Do we put the orcs in again? I don't know. And we can say that this conflict was so dire that, like basically saying like, just like putting a sentence out, this conflict was so dire that they could not focus on their surface fronts, which gave the impression that they did not want to deal with the orcs, right? I think that is like something we can put in there, like a nice spin. You know, where it's like, oh yeah, it's like, it's not entirely like, oh yeah, no, they don't want to fight the orcs, but they could not. But from an outside, it looked like they were just not giving a fuck. Let me try to put that into words a bit. This underground war was so dire. Like conflicts in the underground. Conflicts below ground were so dire that they could not spare the spare forces to fight the surface dwelling orcs. And now we have the orcs in. We just put them here and link us an orc. And then we also do the same thing with the dwarves, right? But we put the dwarves in once. Or do we put the dwarves in every time? I think we should write every like civilization as like capital letter. I like that more. Do we have more dwarves? Dwarf. Also, I should edit them before because this takes more time. Boop. Where are the other dwarves? Halfling, halfling, halfling. Dwarf. Capital letter D's. I forgot one dwarves. I don't know where it is, but it will be somewhere. Dwarf. You know what I do? I do this. Dwarves. Where is it? 3. Where's the last dwarves? Oh, there. The last dwarves does not count right now. Okay. Which made the Cohen species think which made it which made it seem as if the halflings were not caring about the conflicts. No, about the war on the top side of the ground, right? I think this is like the best I can come up with right now. The conflicts below ground were so dire that they could not spare forces to fight the surface-dwelling orcs, which made it seem like as if the halflings were not caring about the war on the top side of the ground. We have ground and ground in the same sentence. Dot. This. No. That Which we keep which. Of their strongholds. Bam! More strongholds. Grabbing a word from somewhere else. Easy. Because now we have this. And now we're getting into like while centuries passed, halflings, the halflings slowly but surely lost more and more ground. Even with all their advancements, they could not withstand the army of a seemingly godlike being, right? They did not know what the changeling was at that point. They were studying what it was, right? The despair that was growing inside of society made them rely on actors and allies they should not have relied upon, right? The gnomes and goblins who were freed after the Heritage War. Were let's call them actors and pawns, right? Still interested in decimating the remaining erstwhile is such a wild pick for a word, and I like it. I have an idea for this. Due to their society, when their despair grew, they decided that instead of finding true allies in the gnomes and goblins, the halflings chose to use their erstwhile yeah. They fell back on their worst instincts. What did you write? And chose to view their erstwhile allies as little more than pawns to use, as they saw fit to hurt their true enemies. Yeah, that is a good sentence. Yeah, this is good. And chose to. I was like going with a and fell back on the instincts, and then we got like with colon, and then we would have gone with like instead of blah 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 what you wrote earlier, I would like instead of finding true allies and so on, right? So we're going with the last one that you wrote. I think that is like the best one up to this point. And chose to view their erstwhile allies as little more than pawns to use as they fit to hurt their true enemies. Okay, we kill this. And now the gnomes and goblins who are freed after we do a thing here. The gnomes and goblins who were freed after the Heritage War were still interested in decimating the remaining Orcish population. One out of sheer bloodlust, the other out of will, out of a want to change the future. Now we have like the motivations in here as well. This gave the halflings yeah. We do a separate sentence. Otherwise we have like these monster sentences all the time. And I don't want to have like giant ass sentences everywhere. Because it makes reading a bit harder, right? So we start with the halflings. We started the halflings part. The halflings were more than happy to take advantage. I cannot write. Advantage of their desire to change. For change. Vengeance. They provided the... Yeah, we're getting to the hand very soon. We also forgot one thing. We have like two things. I just realized we need to we need to go in here, right? Because in the middle, because we want to before we forget this, even though this seemed to be the case, the halflings and their promises to the cursed elves. Cursed elves. Drove them. We link the elves as well. We need to link a lot of stuff soon. Drove them. Cursed elves. Promises of a cure. Ah, that is a good sentence, dude. The halflings made promises to the elven, to the cursed elves, and fanned the flames of rebellion against the Orcish dynasties. Even though the halflings, yeah, to the cursed elves and fanned the flames of rebellion against the Orcish dynasties. Okay, now we can go further in. I just wanted to have this in before we forget this, because we were like so much in the flow that we skipped stuff. Now we are back to gnomes and halflings. They took charge of project is a small word. Project. Providing the gnomes and goblins with information and technology to find, to locate recent Aether vein connected to the changeling. This Aether vein was located on the island of Kaiko. Do we write it that they actually knew that the Aether vein was there, or do we say we go back on that and say, okay, they knew that it was somewhere there and wanted to like have them weapon test, and that was still an accident? Like, do we make this like an inside job, and the halflings were happy to like martyr themselves for the most part and did not think it would escalate that much? Like they miscalculated, or do we say it was on like miscalculation or purpose? This is like the one that I'm thinking about. Did they plan this or did they not? Because if they plan this, yeah, that is good. Because that sounds more like an accident, right? Suddenly guided the gnomes Why exclamation mark? Attention towards the mirror belt. It was speculated that the changeling rested below the islands, which was based on orcish belief and ley line exploration. I made 2 sentences out of like this giant one. I think this is like, it was speculated that the changeling rested below this island, which was based on orcish belief and ley line exploration. So we have like desperate because they're losing is gone. Halflings did put the gnomes and goblins right to track to find the spots in the mirror by connecting to the changeling siphon ether. We are here right now, checking both civilizations and harvesting large ether reservoir. GG's. I speculate that the yeah, this is this. Acquired. I like the acquired. Whoops, we got that on accident. Whoop-de-doo. Dude, the halflings are such big dicks, dude. I love them. I think we made like if you hear halfling and you think Frodo and then these fuckers come around, right? Mom says we have halflings at home and then we come around with a with the world domination people, dude. They speculated that the changeling rested below the islands. Or do we say islands of Kaiko? No, islands in general, right? Based on orcish spiritual texts, they had acquired. I called it Kaiko Island. We can make it a chain. It's like the I thought we started with like the island, which is like a slightly larger island, where like people. But we can make it a chain. Like I don't have a problem with that. At the moment we have Kaiko Island. We can make it Kaiko Islands. It's like 3. It's like, yeah, it doesn't matter, right? The question is, I think it makes more sense that the Isoki were not like on like an entirely island chain. Or were they? I mean, they had boats, right? We said they are like very much like that, right? I feel like the Kamehameha Isoki is coming around in like the whole like totem gear and shows me his canoes, you know. I think Kaiko Islands is like the main island, and then the islands around it it's called the Kaiko chain or something like that, right? Yeah, let's do it like that. Main island. Yeah, me too. Let's do it like this. There's an island chain, and this is like Kaiko is just the Isogi word for land. You mean like they interpreted it like as like this is like the entire island chain and the island itself, or like so the Isogi just call it Kaiko, right? And they call it Kaiko Island, and that's like. Okay, Gobu, write that down. What's this land? So they just, like, Kaiko Island is just the entire chain, yeah? And Kaiko is just like the entire chain, but they call it just Kaiko Island because they are like, they didn't give a fuck, right? I like that very much, actually. Small island chain. Yeah, okay. Sounds like very, very like historically accurate, to be honest. Okay, so changing, you know, based on Orcish spiritual text that acquired. Okay, we were at the Orcish spiritual text, so we are the gnomes and goblins went to work and started their... Is it a conquest when you just go there? Like colonization, right? Colonization of the Kaiko Island. Subsequent tests on Aether. While the halflings were still waging their war underground, yeah, that is good. Set up research centers. Because I just skipped like a lot of stuff, right? Said It's getting late. I realize that it's getting late. Research outpost. The main island. Subsequent tests on Aether bombs. Ravaged the small islands in the chain. We're getting to the point where they die, which is, I'm getting giddy because they're dying soon. Lings, it's so macabre to say, yeah, they're dying soon. Hooray! They're dead. The halflings continued to wage war in their underground expansion, but were quickly forced to no, increasingly, right? Increasingly sounds better. You're absolutely right. Increasingly forced to cede ground to the changelings minions. Okay, and this is like the point where they get super desperate, right? Halfling. Yeah, pressure's up, right? Due to... No, not due to again. Due to we had like 5 times already. When the pressure on the front. With desperation mounting, dude. I need to go into like literally like into like a language class and like get into like writing again and like how to write proper, because this is like so good. You have like so many good words to describe different things with desperation mounting. And now we go into the part where the halfling scientists, who are not definitely not state funded, go to Kaiko and just say, okay, let's escalate this bitch, right? With desperation mounting from a halfling scientist. Mounting. Halfling. Scientists. Scientists is written in lowercase. Scientists. Yeah, I imagine this. Like, they go there and they're like, how are things going here? Rats and frogs, that's nice. Here's how you split the atom. Halfling scientist. Oh my god. I am very happy right now that I do not have laundry outside. I need to... 1 second. I will be back for the last 2 seconds. Oh my god. shit, what is going on outside? Oh my god. I just look outside my window and it starts dripping against the window, which is not possible usually. And just like the trees outside are bending so hard, dude. Oh my god. I cannot see outside my window. There's so much rain. Doesn't matter. Back to writing, because we need to wrap this up for today. Take this demon core and have fun. With desperation mounting. Halfling scientists with the help of their leaders traveled to Kaiko Island to, how do we put it nicely, speed up the process of the hand at the behest of their leaders. The hand project. Okay. Now we have the halflings there. What do the last halflings do before they blow everyone up? I think the best thing the halflings can do before they just nuke everybody, together with their best pawns, with their best acquaintances, right, is after evacuating, we call it evacuating, after evacuating the Isoki, who have grown to become the dominant force on this island. Relocating, yeah. Relocating the Isoki, who have become the dominant force on this island. The scientists urged the gnomes and goblins to more drastic measures. They should test out the full force of what the hand, the hand would be capable of by draining one of the changelings' strongest aether reservoirs and firing the weapon at full force. I think this is the point where they're like, bro, please, just like, I know you're having fun playing like rats versus frogs, but how about we just speed this up? Because at the moment there's like something happening, but we cannot talk to you because you're like not you're not in the circle, you know, you're not in the WhatsApp group. And now we have like this this like entire thing going on. I would say more drastic measures under the guise of needing to present government with results. I think it fits there because then we explain what the results should be, right? They should test out the full force of what the hand would be capable of by draining one of the changeling's strongest aether reservoirs and firing the weapon at full force. Okay. Out what the hand there. They should test out what the hand would be capable of by yeah, that's good. They should test out the capabilities. Capabilities of Zahando. Okay, let's rewrite this in its entirety. By firing the weapon at full force at a designated location. I think we're nearly out of the halfling hole. The halflings were expecting the test firing to drain one of the changelings. Largest aether reservoirs. And here comes the big thing. Even though Orcish leyline experts urged them not to fire, not to urge them about the prominence of caution them is like cautioned them about such about the weapons usage near the powerful ley lines in the mirror belt. The gnomish and gnomish written lowercase, right? Gnomish and goblin the gnomish and goblin scientists, experts, inventors, what do we call them? Experts, right? No, we have experts twice then. Gnomish and goblin. Administrators, that is a good one. I think about like Green every time, like from like Half-Life. Administrators decided to ignore their warnings. Yeah, I think so as well. I was like about to ask, do we write that the halflings are just like taking over by the end? Because like they are like, oh fuck man, these are like clowns, right? Just have them press the button, but everything else we're doing, we're just so much more efficient. Halfling presence had been scaled up significantly during the final weeks of the project. As they all but took over work before end. This is like the main thing, right? On the day of what would become the biggest disaster in Ezikoan history. The biggest, maybe not disaster, the biggest. We keep it like that right now. Most significant event, most significant event, yeah. Most routine safety checks were skipped in order to push the weapon. I feel like we shouldn't make gnomes and goblins blameless. Do we who's them? The safety checks? They didn't need the safety checks? Basically, the newly scientists ignored or simply overlooked that the way or maybe it's the time, but I'm not 100% understanding. So you say they just like the halfling scientists were like, yeah, let's not do safety checks because we cannot work with these people. Or are the gnomes and goblins skipping the safety checks? Like we need to give them like more blame. Either we the latter two. Okay, yeah, that I agree with. So basically, they out of protest, right? They skip that. Because the halflings I feel like the halflings put pressure on them, expecting them to still adhere to scientific procedure nevertheless. So yeah, you think like so they were doing this out like sheerly out of protest, right? I'm getting this right. Yeah, I still put so much blame. Maybe they just sucked. How about we spin this slightly? How about I was like throwing this idea out there. The halflings and the gnomes, right? They're like there now. And the goblins. Goblins and gnomes were like experimenting, having fun, throwing their nukes around, just like testing. And the goblins were seeing results, while the gnomes were saying like, oh yeah, this is like working. This is like something new. We are doing something for the future, right? So they're like working. They're like getting their ecstasy out. And then when that happens, the halflings come along. They're like, okay, now it's time to work, right? They suck the fun out of this. Not the fun, but the joy, right? And then like we're like very for the next few maybe like months or like weeks where like the halflings are there and are like, okay, we need to push this project, desperately need to push this project. The gnomes and goblins are just like basically now getting like caught up in this like hurry that the halflings introduced that was not there before. Because before the halflings were there, it was like, okay, we're doing this in secret. This is like a project that is long term. And then when the orcs try to like reorganize, we just nuke them away, right? That's like the main idea I thought about. That like, oh, the dynasties are at the moment shattered, but when they try to reform and they're all at one spot, we just nuke them, right? That's the idea. We aether bomb them and they're dead. And so now we have like this component of like desperation and like time and neediness, right? Like how like someone who's like introducing stress into a stress-free situation introduces like group stress all of a sudden, even though there's no timer, right? And so now the gnomes and goblins once like are caught up in this because they're like very easily influenced, while they're also fed up with the halflings because they're like, oh yeah, the halflings, they have their thought weft, they don't need us anymore, so let's get this just over with. The fun is gone, the joy of slow discovery is gone. We have like these min-maxes here. It's like introducing a min-maxer to a fun party, right? And then you have like they're like, just like fed up, and so while they're fed up, they just say, just we don't give a shit anymore, just like throw that thing and then we see what happens. And ideally next week the orcs are gone, right? That's how I imagine it to go. That would be like a very like optional thing that could have gone. Yeah, exactly. They're just done with this because they just like, we should put this in like actually because we're on the halfling page, right? And this is very important to them, but we should like write this out of the halflings point of view, right? Which is something we forgot like a little bit in this part here, because we're like there's like stuff where the halflings weren't there, but they wouldn't know about it, right? I put this into this quickly just so we have this. Did the halflings actually send a delegation of faked interns to the project? The gnomes and You mean like I'm thinking, catching the train of Would you think they would send wrong dignitaries in there? Like, actually? How many project lead approaches the administrators with a deadline? I think that's more the halfling thing to do, right? But then we put like even more blame on the halflings. Exactly, but we put more blame on the halflings. Because then we say, okay, the halflings just push them. And then we lose like this, like, oh, the goblins, like, it's also with the done and over with attitude, right? We're like, okay, the halflings destroyed the fun. And that's why they're fed up. I mean, it's still a dick move, but like, the causing thing is the halflings. Yeah, I think they should just get bored, right? Like that the halflings come there? No, the halflings come there. We need to agree that the halflings come there, because otherwise they would not have known why they just blew up. And I think they know this. I think they played Puppet Master with like puppets that had no strings. That's like the problem, right? Like, this is like the situation. They're like, oh yeah, we have like these easy to influence people here. They are our pawns, they are our puppets. We can puppeteer them around. And then they just like don't know how to guide these two idiots, right? When they're there, they don't know what they unleashed on the world. I think that's the thing. Puts blame on the halflings because they were like stupid and not non-cooperative. Puts blame on everyone else, right? Halflings arrived on Kaiko. Took over work and built pressure. Sucked the fun out of work. Gnomish and Goblin participation became a rush job, right? Out of boredom. Because now we can say, okay, they were skipped. Because from the halfling point, right? On the day that, like, most routine subjects were skipped. And the firing of the hand was yeah, and some theories based on dwarven fusion technology were hastily implemented. And now we get to the point where they fire the weapon, right? When the weapon launched, the effects of no, not when the weapon launched. After its launch, the hands effects were instantly recognizable. It was a moment of sheer destruction. In a moment of sheer destruction, Kaiko Island was decimated. And now we have like the bomb blowing up and annihilated, yeah. It's not there anymore. It's not destroyed and like everything is wasted. It's like gone, annihilated. What came after though was no. Mere moments. Exactly. Oh, that is good. I was talking about unforeseen consequences, right? I was like thinking about that, getting that in. Destruction did not halt at the. I know I see the typo, though. What is this word? Destruction. As the weapons energies fused and diffused uncontrollably. The surging energy. This created a chain reaction that burned through the aether under the mirror belt. Yeah, I was like thinking about like a ripple, using like my wording would have been like the surging of the energy created a ripple effect under the mirror belt. That was the sentence I had in my head, but I don't know if I want to have chain reaction or ripple effect. I keep the burn through the aether under the mirror belt. That is good. Yeah, this is a very good sentence. She's created. I don't want to have this as like the first word. Created a chain reaction that burned through the aether under the mirror belt. I like that. Under the mirror belt. I should write that in capital letters because it's a name. Mirror belt. Eventually reaching deeper than halfling strongholds. Down to the planet's core. So now we are like at the Aether Flood. Now this happens. And this is where the halflings die, which is the greatest thing ever. This sounds so mean-spirited. like the material used. I know, like the aether used in the hand. Much to the chagrin of the surviving species. Empire fell. Do we write it like this? Do we write what happens during the Aether Flood, or do we just say, okay, they died, lol? I like this sentence when, like, much to the chagrin. The chagrin is like God, chagrin of the surviving species. The halfling empire fell near instantaneously. It's like so mean-spirited, but these are like so horrible people. Like, the entire society is so horrible, but it's so funny that they just like, yo, kind of funny though. I think we should write what happens after, and then like we end after this instantaneously. We say like they did an ocean skate. I think we should like write about the bomb quickly. So I was like writing like the aether of the hand, a giant surge of energy caused the aether of Aziko in its entirety to react and spill out from the inside of the planet, rapidly flooding most of the planet's surface. Much of the and now we have like the underground. Halfling Empire fell nearly instantaneously. While most of the scientists tried to save themselves, their kin was not as lucky. And then we have like, then we get the poetic thing. What would be known as the Aether Fall. Aether Flood, Jesus Christ. Aether Flood. It's getting late. Aether Flood. And the start of a new chapter in Aziko's history was the final chapter of the halflings. Though grim their fate may have been. They deserved it. No, just kidding. They did not fall alone. And in a moment of karmic justice, the gnomes and the why do I say halflings all the time? Goblins. The pawns they used in their schemes fell with them and would become no, fell with them. They together would become the group known as, and here we go with the rightfully lost, and that is the final chapter of the halflings, right? I think this is like the one that we, bro, oh my god, did we write a lot? Jesus Christ. We need to link a lot, but I need to go to bed. We did half an hour overtime, actually. I didn't want to do that long, but I want to finish this. This is good. We do a quick reading after on the next stream. I don't know, again, tomorrow is like planned, but I don't know if I will. Because I need to do other stuff tomorrow. Maybe a short one, like reviewing this and then going to the other two. Because the other two will be a bit shorter, I think. And this is like the basis of what happens for the Aether Flood, right? With like the Aether Flood text itself. And then we have like the basis of everything that is like year 0. And then we can go with the orcs. Because the orcs are like before. Basically, we need like year 0 with the orcs. No, year 0 with the rightfully lost. Then year 2000 before is the orcs, and then like the everything after we need to like separate into like smaller categories, right? But I think that we did a lot of good today, dude. We did a lot of text today. It could be that I read over it tomorrow during work and just like do the links then. Could be, because the links are just like a few clicks and then it's done. But yeah, anyways, I need to go to bed. I need to recharge my batteries, dude. So again, tomorrow probably a stream. Thank you, Ikasero, for like being here again. It's like I have to say this is like very productive, and you corrected me. You correct me so many times because my wording sometimes is very weak, and like this is like I'm very thankful for like you spending time here, spending your evening here, and just keeping like company and like get like 1,000 better ideas of like how to write stuff than I did, and like how to reword this, brainstorm and stuff like that. So thank you very much. Like actually. But yeah. Call me organic ChatGPT. Yeah, you're organic ChatGPT. So anyways, thank you for watching. I will see you probably tomorrow. See you around. Thanks and goodbye.